This is week 2 of our game development project. I'm very excited because now we have a game concept to implement. We all share and agree on the same view. We are going to start implementing the prototyping these mechanics. I'm going to go through what happened this week and what will be the next steps. Last week we started the project by generating some ideas, and from that first session I picked the frog idea to develop a more solid concept. And by using the 3 game pillars we agreed on last week, I went through this ideation process and established the mechanics for the character, the aesthetics, and I developed a prototype on Unity to validate functionality. And I put together a proposal selection meeting to go through each one of the concepts and vote for our favorite. We presented and reviewed all the concepts, and after the voting, we decided to go with the time control mechanics. The concept that we decided to go with is a 3D first-person shooter that the main mechanic is controlling time in different ways. To be rewinding, freezing time, creating focalized areas where time goes slowly or faster or in reverse. Some games that come to mind are Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where the main character is either freezing objects in time or rewinding them. On Thursday, we discussed our progress with our supervisor. He encouraged us to focus on the time mechanic as the only way for the player to attack. And we all agreed that these limitations were worth exploring. I was exploring ways on how to create a shader that it was both very attractive but simple in execution. Playing with Midjourney to generate some images, we came up with some possible paths that we could pursue. So we divided our efforts into 2 exploration work streams, one for the time mechanic and the other one for the shader's visual identity, and a third parallel work stream to build a presentation for an elevator pitch on Monday, April 8th. Before starting the mechanics, I proposed to build a common code base with the first-person controller already implemented, so we can all have the same code base and streamline the prototyping process. I team up with Sarko, one of the team members, to build up this sandbox. We decided what the playground should have. We prioritized key features, for instance, moving around, shooting, stealth interactions, enemies. So we use a Unity started asset for character controllers as the code base to streamline this process. We have roughly 4 to 5 hours of work. I had some issues with the .NET SDK that blocked the repository from being pushed to GitHub. So Sarko pushed the project from his Windows PC, and then I cloned on my local. The git ignore configure from GitHub worked perfectly well. Sarko added moving enemies to the playground and a crosshair to screen, while I implemented 2 input actions for the primary and secondary attack. And we both documented how to use the playground on Vicam. Although we finished the playground by 5 p.m., the tricky part was going through the code and rearranging all the files, moving assets from the third-party package to the project's assets without breaking the game. I reorganized the folder based on a Unity's article and my teammates' advice on best practices of organizing Unity projects. Once everything was working smoothly, I merged all those secondary branches to the main branch and released the repository as a template for the team to start working on Saturday. Lastly, I want to add that I solved the Mac.NET SDK problem by deleting and reinstalling the latest version of the .NET SDK for M2, and also including the .NET SDK's path in the CSH configuration file. I added the code snippets on the written part of this test block for future queries. Our plans for the next week and my responsibilities is basically use the playground that we built to prototype several time mechanics for the user to interact with the environment and with the enemies. Review and discuss the mechanics that each one of us prototyped, review and decide on the shader's explorations. I will be researching some unique selling points for our game and also helping Samuel assembling the visual identity, aesthetics and game pillars for the elevator pitch. We also agreed that it would be worth releasing each week some playable prototype on a game hosting service, and the idea is to deploy an early playable version of our prototype on Saturday. And yeah, and that's it. See you next time.